of the human angle. There are practical steps to handling the financing of the child nurturing process and how best couples can arrange their streams of working cash flows to meet the various additional expenses that come about from becoming parents. The financing requirements start from the prenatal stage to the post-delivery period and the subsequent needs of the child as he or she grows and integrates with society through interactions with peers at crèches and at homes. The financing of the different stages of a child's evolution is just as important as the commitment to marriage and keeping a long-lasting fraternal partnership between husband and wife. On today's episode, we discuss financing the birth and care of a child when raising a baby from the Proshare Raising a Baby report. Everything about financing starts with having a budget. This should also be applicable to how you plan your finances for your child or children. The most important thing is to start planning early, making use of a budget planner. A budgeting worksheet helps you plan and manage expenses for raising a newborn child from the first year to the fifth year. You can make use of it to work out the estimated expenses for various items and record the actual expenses. In assumption, expenses for raising a newborn child from the first year to the fifth year can cost as much as 372,000 naira for low class, 1,807,200 naira for medium class, and 4,694,775 naira for high class. Low class being Mr. A, who works as a driver in a firm, earning 70,000 naira per month, living in a rented room and parlor apartment, has no other sources of income apart from his monthly salary, and his wife probably has a small shop near the house and sells minor items. Middle class being Mr. B, who is a banker, earns 350,000 naira per month, lives in a rented two-bedroom apartment, depending only on his monthly salary with no other stream of income, and his wife teaches in a primary school close to their house and also bakes. And high class being Mr. C, who is a HNI and a managing director of a firm. He earns 5 million naira every month, lives in a 5-bedroom duplex owned by him, and his wife is a banker. We'll break down the estimated cost of the financial expenses as we go on. However, it is extremely important to note having a financial plan in place for having children as a couple and having the expense items in your worksheet entirely according to your needs. Throughout the journey of raising a child, there are mainly 3 phases, that is the prenatal stage, post-delivery stage, and then the years after it. During the prenatal stage, finances are tilted towards caring for oneself as an expectant mom and preparations for the newborn. Some of the financial costs inherent in this stage include the cost of prenatal visits and diagnostic tests, dietary supplements, maternity clothing, delivery costs either being normal or cesarean, the nursery setup, and in recent times we have the pre-baby shoot and baby showers. Before the baby is born, taking all this into consideration, this stage can cost as much as 32,000 naira for low class, 259,800 naira for medium class, and then 878,000 naira for high class. After the prenatal stage, in the post-delivery stage, the first year after the birth of a child can be quite challenging, especially for a first-time mom. Knowing what and what not to do often depends on the advice received from other moms, the doctors, and sometimes what is read on the internet. It's important to know that it won't be business as usual because the newborn will cause a change in the dynamics you're used to. First, your body changes, then your lifestyle, and most definitely your spending. You and your spouse now have to think of another mouth or mouths to feed and cater in the place of twins or even multiple births. In this stage, which is usually for the first 1 year before you settle or better settle as parents, the main costs you have to deal with are, number 1, the feeding. The best type of food for a baby for the first 6 months is breast milk as advised by medical practitioners. However, most women, especially working moms, are not able to cope with exclusive breastfeeding or choose to stop same after the first 3 months. Regardless of the choice you make, you still have to bear certain costs. As a mom, your feeding pattern changes, and for exclusive feeding, you may need to feed more than usual, thus increasing your cost on food items, while your baby's milk is also important. Some babies during the weaning stage are switched to solid food immediately, while others do more of milk first before switching to liquid food and then eventually solids. Number 2, we do the clothing and other baby items. Clothing and other baby needs such as toiletries are essential when nurturing a newborn. The consumables can be used for a period of 3 to 6 months, while clothing can be changed every 6 months since the baby will continue to grow out of same. Some of these items could be offered as gifts to the newborn, so you need not incur outrageous costs on these items, but ensure you have enough to cater to your child's needs. Number 3 will be the medical expenses. Without a doubt, vaccination prevents and makes your baby resistant to a lot of diseases that can hamper the growth and development of your baby. Some of these diseases include tuberculosis, tetanus, polio, and measles. It's imperative one's child gets vaccinated after birth, especially within the first year of their birth when they are very vulnerable to diseases. Aside from some vaccines that are free in Nigeria for babies, such as polio vaccines, you may be required to pay to get your child immunized for some other types of vaccines. In Nigeria, vaccines are cheaper in government hospitals and private hospitals, but it's advisable to stick to hospital of childbirth for baby care. Beyond the vaccination, it's often recommended that one immediately includes the newborn in the family health insurance scheme in order to minimize the cost of visits to the hospital. Number 4 will be your support system, that is the crèche, the nanny, your house help, or even your relatives. By the time your maternity leave is over and the next thing on your mind is how to ensure you take adequate care of your baby and at the same time ensure you live up to expectations at your home or your place of work, you may choose to hire a nanny or seek help from family relatives or even their house help to balance your schedule. If you choose to hire help, you must ensure that their pay is either the new minimum wage in Nigeria, which is 30,000 naira or more monthly, while professional nannies may cost higher fees. Alternatively, if you choose to seek help from a relative or close acquaintance, this may be at no cost to you, but if you have to live in, then your regular feeding cost and home maintenance cost may increase. You should also not take for granted the fact that they will not charge and be ready to budget a token monthly to at least appreciate their support. Number 4 will be the baby's naming ceremony and dedication. This practice is common in Nigeria, especially amongst Christians, though the decision to host a naming ceremony, dedication, or the 40-day celebration may vary based on the tribe you're from. Other factors that will determine this are the health of the baby and even the mother at that time. Often, Yorubas prefer to host elaborate naming ceremonies, while Igbos prefer mild naming and elaborate dedications when the child visits the church for the first time. While some parents save themselves the financial burden of doing this, some take these celebrations quite seriously. Whatever your decision is, you should be mindful of the cost and ensure that you do what you can afford. In the post-delivery stage, taking into consideration all of this, it can cost as much as 270,000 naira for low class, 1,083,400 naira for medium class, and then 2,333,775 naira for high class. During the years after, parents have often adapted to the new lifestyle of nurturing the newborn, though the needs of the child increase and they begin to demand more attention, especially when they start teething and begin to learn how to walk, talk, read, and write. It's important for parents to know that these times are critical to the foundation built for the child, and they should not be neglected to the nannies, relatives, acquaintances, or teachers that help to support you. Parents should find these times enjoyable and documented. Doing this would reduce the pressure and sometimes emotional stress that comes with it. Imagine seeing your child imitating you and doing what you do daily. Imagine your child calling your spouse the pet name you call him. Imagine hearing the laughter and seeing the smiles of your little one daily. These moments should not be taken for granted, and you need to take them very seriously. You'll be surprised how useful they are to helping you even relieve stress. You should also be mindful of the words you say and the ways you act in the presence of your child or your children, because they are building blocks for the development of their value system and will shape their belief and behaviors in future. Some of the common needs you will need to cater to as a child matures includes the baby's needs. That is, your child at the toddler stage will be willing to do things their own way and at their own time. The best you can do as a parent at this age is to provide a safe environment for the toddler to learn, play, and explore. Most children seem more independent at this stage, that's the truth. They become quite open to new challenges and concentrate more on listening and playing happily. But do not be fooled. You must never take your eyes off your baby. Your baby's actions at this level becomes voluntary. They walk, climb, try to run, crawl on steps, finger feeds, walk hurriedly, squat to pick up things, and many more. Babies at this stage can be quite stressful to train, but you must never lose sight of your baby and find pleasure in caring for them. From age 2 to 3, your child is at a phase popularly known as a developmental milestone to many. Here, your child has almost fully mastered the art of walking. They now possess skills like taking turns, playing make-believe, kickballs, and more. They reach milestones in their behaviors, movements, how they play, how they speak, and how they learn. Children at this level have great desire to be independent. Little wonder people refer to this stage as the terrible two. Toddlers experience social and emotional changes, think hugely, and learn to explore their new world. Most parents enroll their children into school at this stage, which is not a bad idea because they have to develop social interaction habits and play with other toddlers. As they grow, their feeding requirements also changes, same with the nature of clothes they wear and the toiletries they use. As these requirements increase, so will the costs. It is therefore important to, at this time, have in place the following for your child. A bank account. This cannot be compromised. Creating a bank account for your newborn baby is never a bad idea, especially in a country like Nigeria with an uncertain economy. Aside the fact that opening a bank account for your baby guarantees your child's financial well-being in the future, it equally saves the parents financial stress in the future as well. Money saved in a child's account will surely cater for future expenses such as the cost of the tertiary education, future holiday plans, and so on. Commercial banks in Nigeria create platforms for one to open an account for the baby. You can reach out to your banker to know the various features of their accounts and compare with others before making a decision. Also, the education insurance. Education insurance is basically a plan which caters financially to your child's education in the eventual you are unable to provide for them in the future. Any parent, guardian, and even grandparents can buy an education insurance plan for their children or wards. Also, we have the education trust or an investment such as the mutual fund. An education trust fund is made towards securing the education of a child, grandchild, or an individual of concern, such as the siblings. With an education trust fund, you can either make a lump sum amount or periodic contributions over time to provide for the education of the named beneficiary. The standard and level of education is determined by you, subject to adequacy of funds in the trust account. You're actually at liberty to make this trust revocable or irrevocable. And in other words, you may guarantee the education of the beneficiary by precluding yourself or any future guardian from terminating the trust or withdrawing the funds. On the other hand, a mutual fund, a collective investment scheme that allows investors to pool funds together to purchase securities that are professionally managed by a fund manager. You can get prepared for your child's education in advance with a mutual fund. It's easy, especially when you are not an expert in investment trading, because you have a professional that can manage your capital for you and ensure that it performs very well. Other forms of investments can also be explored to ensure funds are not idle, but secure and useful, especially in times of need. The number 2 common need you will need to cater to as a child matures is the baby toys and other forms of entertainment. Children play a little more and want to try various things as they grow. As parents, you should buy them toys and other forms of entertainment to allow them to explore. There are certain things babies begin to do at this stage. They include learning how to control their body, exploring with their hands and fingers, communication through the use of sounds, actions, and facial expressions, and getting used to the world that was once scary to them. As a parent, when you notice these changes, you should move your babies to different positions to help develop new skills like rolling, creeping, and crawling. You should also create routines for your baby and ensure you study your baby's signal and respond quickly to their needs. Number 3 will be the school fees. In enrolling your child into school to gain education is the best legacy you can give to any child. Education is a fundamental human right, and you should not deprive your child of that right. Education is quite expensive, that's the truth. The school fees, textbook costs, uniforms, and so on. Every parent wants the best for their child, so be ready to spend on your child's academics. Also, the first birthday party. This is very important, especially as regards your child's social interaction. Your baby's first birthday is a great sign of growth, and this could cost you if you want a party for your child. Your expenses will be most likely on photography, the cake, foods, drinks, costume, the party packs, and lots more. Your child's first year on earth is worth celebrating. Make it worthwhile to avoid answering some questions when your child comes of age. Often, the first song a child learns to sing well or remembers more at a tender age is the happy birthday song. This is usually because that was the first song sang that puts them on the spotlight, so it's important to celebrate them. At the ages of 2 to 3, your child begins to have some sense of independence, doing some things on his or her own, and at this stage, you need to keep on encouraging them to associate, which can be done through birthday parties and giving them the opportunity to share their happy moments and gifts with others. At these ages, you do not need to have an elaborate party, and the celebrations can be done at your child's school. You don't want them questioning you as to why they don't have these moments when their peers actually do. No matter how small, consider celebrating your child's birthday, especially throughout their formation periods, however, on a budget. At this stage also, in the years after, from age 2 to 5, taking into consideration all of this I've mentioned, it can cost as much as 70,000 naira for a low class, 464,000 naira for a medium class, and 1,483,000 naira for a high class individual. In the years after the first year of delivery, moms also have their needs, and this cannot be ignored. They need to stay in shape and remain healthy, have an extra source of income, and an insurance of your life and finances grow as your children grow. It's important to budget for these expenses and not ignore them till when it's too late. We have Mrs. Seidat Tijani share with us her experience from raising her children from birth, the pleasures and the pressures she has faced, and how financially consuming it has been. Take a listen.
Being a mother is not an easy task. You have to carry the pregnancy for 9 months and hours of labor with pains. Being a mother, you have to sacrifice a lot of things because the moment you are pregnant, you start the antenatal immediately. The doctor will tell you the do's and don'ts, and which you must have to abide, whether it suits you or not. You must have to abide because you want the well-being of the baby. The first day I welcomed my baby, I was very happy, overjoyous, because it's what I have never experienced before. Seeing the baby, I was just looking at the baby all over again because I'm very, very happy. But when the breastfeeding started, I used to breastfeed the baby like an hour interval. So the baby may be sleeping during the day, and at night the baby may wake up. Then there's nothing I can do than to carry the baby and start breastfeeding. And if the baby the baby may suck, and if otherwise, the baby may start crying without knowing the cause of the cry. So the next thing to do for me is just to bag the baby, pet her until this baby slept off. That is when I can go to bed and sleep as well. And I'll be the first person to wake up in the morning again, do the house chores, tidy up the room, wash the place, and so on and so forth. The moment the baby woke up again, I will stop all what I'm doing. What I'm supposed to do before, within 30 minutes, it may take an hour before I finish. Not because the woman is lazy, but because you have to sacrifice by taking care of the baby before any other thing is done. Now, in terms of feeding, feed them well. The woman, I must be eating something that is healthy, because whatever thing I'm eating the baby is sucking in from my breast, and it should be making them functioning well, growing well. And as regard the issue of taking care not to be harmed, as the child is growing up, I'm happy, fine and good, but I will have to be looking around, checking on the baby, monitoring the baby, because the baby might go and harm herself, which is not supposed to be. So I must be the person to be monitoring the baby so that she will not be injured with anything. And again, there are limits I can do. I'm limited to certain things that I cannot do, because if I'm going out, for instance, now I cannot just be dropping the baby to anyhow person, because of what is rampant these days, raping her here and there. So I cannot just leave the baby anyhow. I must have to be taking care, staying with the baby, suspending where I'm going to. Now, concerning the financial aspect of the baby, well, before I gave birth to my child, my husband and I may try to manage like 5,000 naira within a week, but the baby is inclusive now. The money may not be enough for us, because we have to feed them well, buy quality food for them that will make their brain to be very sharp and make them to grow well. So we must have to add to our budget, because they are inclusive now and there is nothing we can do. We must have to feed them well, buy clothes for them, diaper, shoe, so that when people are seeing them, they will look unique and very okay for people to say that this baby is beautiful, is this and that. So the pressure there is that you must have to find for their needs, because you and your husband, you may try to manage whatever thing you have, but as for the baby, it's not like that though. You must just have to cater for them first.
Welcome back. Indeed, motherhood is a journey and it has its pleasures and pleasures as well as parenting. However, financing the growth and development of your child can be quite taxing and might even run your bank account empty if not properly planned. Be assured a huge sum will go into medication, feeding, clothing, body care, like the kind of creams they use, and medicated soap for bathing. As side products for childcare, you must render services like enrolling your child in school, paying for them to join social clubs, taking them on holiday trips, and recreational activities. For a country like Nigeria with an unstable economy, it's difficult to run an estimate of the cost of raising a child. More so, life is uncertain. Accidents could occur, things could change. The educational, social, economic, health, and psychological care of your child is nothing easy. You just play along and you have to be prepared for unplanned circumstances. In addition, beyond the financial needs of your child or children and the plan for same, you should so take into considerations their physical, emotional, and social care, which requires a change of orientation and perception about what is assumed the best way to care for a child, because there is no one size that fits all. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of The Human Angle. You could send in your videos, pictures, questions, and comments if you have any to programs@proshareng.com and business@proshareng.com. Visit our website www.proshareng.com to get more information on your personal finance, the Raising a Baby reports, and updates from our news stories and videos. Also follow us on our social media platforms shown on the screen for further updates on our market reports. Don't forget to keep it a date with us tomorrow as we'll be discussing the Raising a Baby ecosystem, that is the players in raising a baby. Till then, thank you very much for watching and bye for now.